What's up, fellas? Welcome to Two Lines on this Halloween Tuesday. Hopefully you guys are doing well. We had trick-or-treaters for the first time this year. I think we had 3 total the last 2 years. So I've just came inside. It is cold. The wind really picked up and started blowing, and it's nasty out. So hopefully you guys are doing well. I've got a mess in front of me. Does your work table ever just get out of hand where you've got pieces, parts everywhere? And I am not very organized tonight. So what's going on? Yeah, I've got a mess. So what's going on, guys? Hopefully everybody's doing well. Man, my nose is cold from being outside. Start at the Sean Casey. Start at the bottom of the chat, not the top, Marty. That's funny. Curvy, Wildman, Chris Freder, Sean Casey, Jeff G, Eric Tucker, Daryl Rogers. The cool people only hang out in the best places. That's great. Curvy Road. Oh, wow. What is going on? Why is that so small? I don't know what that. Let's enlarge that a little bit. There we go. So the gathering must happen. You're right. Yep. Last week, Sean and I had a chance to chat and had a great conversation, and we think we need to put together some type of slot car gathering. So, anyone else besides me order the new green Revo Opal? I would say my brother, if I haven't found it yet, is probably all over that. John Albright in the house, Sean Casey, Daryl Rogers, John Tucci, Gene, welcome Gene, good to have you. Pat, 3 Bean Raceway. Yeah, guys, man, lots of chat going on. No wonder I got the hey George, Area 51. George sent me a video of his house. He was all decorated, man. Not one trick-or-treater. George's house was decked out, man. Great job, George. The Fingers, Gary. Did I see Dave Slot R in here? Wow, man, you guys are right. There's a bunch of stuff. Happy Halloween, guys. I think Marty Marty dressed up with a coat and hat and some candy. No costume for me this year. Guys, if I missed any of you, I apologize. But glad to have you here tonight. Hey, Dave. I thought I saw you in here. Hey, Barry, welcome. The Ronan, the Slot Car Dojo is in the house. Frankie Tomatoes. Yeah, man, Greg Guth. You guys, wow, there's been a lot of yeah, I'm not catching up with that. Don Young, welcome. Hey, Billy, Amanda, glad to have you guys. Slot Journal, happy Halloween. Good to have you. Asher, hey, Asher, it's been a while. Good to have you, man. Thanks for jumping in the chat. Who else do we have? Did I miss Steve? Steve in the house? So, gosh, we got so much to talk about. Let's first, did anybody watch any of the Eastern Nationals, the NSR Eastern Nationals that took place at Cloverleaf Racing? It was really cool because I knew a handful of guys that went up for that trip to Michigan, and I wanted to go on Saturday, but my gosh, what is going on with my nose? My nose is red and swollen. Anyway, I'll quit looking looking at it. So some guys went up there and had a great showing. So represent Ohio and Cincinnati. Great job, Greg and Steve and Josh. I talked to Josh a lot. He was keeping me up to date on what was going on. Sounds like Butch had an amazing race. I think he finished 6th in day one on Saturday, which was 41 racers. So that was awesome. But well done, guys. You guys did well. I got a chance to watch your live stream, and it was fun. It was funny that most of you guys raced like in the same similar heats in the rotation. So you ended up Greg and Josh and Steve all ended up racing against each other. And there were a couple of other guys, I think, from our area that I don't really know. I've met one of them. I met at Butch's. But yeah, Sean Casey, terrible video coverage. We need a pro team for coverage. So I think what happened, Sean, is we got spoiled by Electric Dreams, and we have to remember where they're at. They are in Hollywood. They're in L.A. They have lots of video resources out there, but there's no reason why, some of these other races can't improve. But it's not cheap to have really high quality footage. So, like you have to probably take baby steps with some of that. So I was just glad that they had coverage, so we got to watch. It was pretty great. But yeah, the USA Nationals, Electric Dreams, really spoiled us this year with the coverage. So maybe next year, Sean, people like us can reach out to, I think his name's Michael at Cloverleaf that sponsors that. And I'm sure there are other guys involved. And some of us who are good at video, maybe we volunteer to help out. Maybe that's how we improve the coverage. So we'll see. Steve Sweeney's in the house. De Leon, hey, Rob. Yeah, the Momo 962 and the slot at McLaren. Great looking cars. Yeah, the Momo, again, you guys know my love affair with Group C cars. I'm really kind of addicted to them right now. But, yeah, good stuff. I imagine a lot of guys in the chat have ordered those. Justin Decker, Amazon delivery driver showed up when I was giving some trick-or-treaters candy. I was like, wow, you got the truck and everything, and that's over the top. She was like, you're funny, and I gave her some candy. Nice job, Justin. That's good. My neighbor is an attorney, and he was my last trick-or-treater, he and his daughter. And he made some comment about it being so cold outside that I can't remember what his joke was, but it was pretty funny. I guess it wasn't that funny if I don't remember it. But you'll have to come with us to Michigan 24 at least Friday and Saturday, and you'll have a race and then next big race at Cloverleaf. Oh, man, Josh, I don't know. I feel like that's out of my league, man. But you guys held your own. I was proud of you. That was well done. Pat, Cloverleaf is located in Michigan, one of the suburbs of Detroit, I believe. I looked it up on the map, but I can't remember the town that they're in. I don't have their sticker laying around. 3 Logitech webcams For 3 Logitech webcams, they didn't look bad. They were actually using Logitech webcams, or were they using the MiFi or cameras? Those seem to be pretty good for the price. You can get 3 for a little over $1,000 or about $900, and that would be a pretty cool interface. And be able to use a switcher. See, I could use Ecamm Live, what I use for my live streams, and use a Blackmagic device and be able to switch all those. So, yeah, the dogs have entered the chat. Not sure what's going on. Maybe more trick-or-treaters walking by. Yeah, I can't complain about that. At least they streamed it. Yeah, I agree. It was good to watch, especially to watch your friends race. Guys, if I miss one of your questions, I apologize. Would love to see some Ohio video. I took some footage. We did a race day. It was a test and tune. We didn't really race. We just had fun on the track to try out the 4-lane on Saturday. Since I did not make it to head up to Cincinnati, kind of on the last second, I invited a few people over to race. If you got left out of that, I apologize. It was really Friday late night when I sent the invites out. So it was great. We had a good time. So I do have some footage from that. Let's see. Highland Charter Township area, about 30 minutes north of Ann Arbor and 45 minutes west of Detroit. Yeah, thanks, Josh. Found good webcam for cheap, wide angle. Yeah, you definitely need the wide angle, especially in narrow spaces and low ceilings, things like that. I mean, that's what I struggle with the coverage on this track, is from the side, I don't have enough depth in the room to get a really good shot, and I've got pretty low ceilings here. I've got about 7-foot ceilings, 7.5-foot ceilings, but then there's ductwork and things. It is a basement, so that makes it tough for some of those wider shots. Sunny in 72, and John Albright in sunny San Francisco. Let's see. Steve Sweeney, Dusty, Steve's Christine got her deer on Saturday evening. Scott, happy Halloween, man. Scott made it down. Anthony Bateman, I see a short clip. I think it was over 1 minute. Yeah, Anthony, I did post some footage of about a minute's worth of we were lapping. It was a vintage class, so it was all old Can-Am cars, Thunder Slots, NSRs. What else was in there? I think maybe a Shadow was in there for a little bit. That was some fun racing. That was probably our quickest races. Those cars were all really fast, and it was a lot of fun. The video that I've prepped to go out next is about a minute long as well, and it's footage of Group 2 Revo slots. So, guys, I don't have one in reach. The Group 2 Revo slot stuff they're a blast. And if your club picks them up and you start racing them, or if you just race them together, they are so close. You get them tuned a little bit. It doesn't take a whole lot to make them go fast for their size and for what they are. We did not change the pinion, so we're all running 9-tooth pinions. It's plenty fast on this 4-lane track. Super competitive. Like, we raced for an hour, and it was hard for anybody to pull away from anybody else. And so the video that I edited up on my lunch hour today was while I was eating lunch. It shows how from lap to lap on this 4-lane track, like, because of the way the lanes are laid out, you really have an opportunity to catch up with people. If you're on the inside lane or on the outside lane, you really can power through some of the turns. And the lanes are all really pretty even from a timing standpoint. The 2 center lanes, the white and the red, are the fastest lanes. But in the video I posted a couple days ago or yesterday, that video, I'm in the yellow, the Thunder slot, and I'm behind, and I'm tracking everybody down, and I'm in the yellow lane, which is the inside lane, and my brother is in the blue lane, which we kind of consider the gutter lane, and he's gotten really good in that lane. Those cars, they were all getting around the track pretty fast. It was a lot of fun. But the next video will be Group 2. We had a blast at the Group 2. Dusty, did he say that he he hasn't ordered his yet. There you go. Hey, Nick. What's up? I've been saying that they're so close, all models. They're a blast for a little while. I know, Dave. And it was you and John Albright and a few others that kind of talked me into finally getting one. Daryl had one with him the first time he came to the track, and we all put a few laps on it, and it was just a matter of days before we had our own. So great cars. We can't go wrong with Revo slots, but those Group 2 cars are really, really tight, and this video will show that. From lap to lap to lap, you pretty much had a different leader, and people overtaking others, and just in the S turns really are equalizers over here on this side of the track, that side of the track. That series of S's, you can really make up some time if you're good through those. But that's what the video kind of shows, which is pretty cool. Let's see. What else do we have going on in the chat? The Opals may just be the best runners of the bunch. Yeah, no worries. Let's see. What else do we have? I got to say, 2-line Speedway 4-lane is a huge blast to run on. Might not look like much behind Marty there, but it is super fun. Yeah, I know. So when you think about getting a starter set, most of the starter sets give you some type of figure 8 type of track. And that's pretty much what this is. It's a very large figure 8 track. And I thought that I would get bored with it. But being 4-lane, especially when you get a few other guys on the track with you, it is way more fun than I expected. I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, I do think that I eventually want to get more track and build a larger 4-lane layout. But this fits the table pretty well. The one thing about it, it's relatively easy to marshal with 4 guys all on one side. So I could move some driver stations to the other side if there was a little bit more room, if we needed to. But it's working out really well the way it is now, so I'm pretty happy with it. But we can talk a little bit about that later. So the Opals, Slot R, my Opal was the worst of the bunch. That's funny. John, I guess I thought you liked the Opal a little better, Dave. I must have misunderstood you when we were talking about it. I have the Alpha, and I like it really well. Dusty has the Escort. John Mark has the BMW. And Daryl, you have an Alpha. And that's what we were running here. So good times. Yeah, man. It was a blast. Hey, Dave. Welcome, man. Yeah, I need to catch up with that. I missed that, Dave. I saw that you were going to be on there, but I just haven't had a chance. People who have bigger track than me but may want more need to admit they have an addiction. Billy, I think I've admitted that multiple times that I might have a problem. It's a good time. But I'm super happy, just like Billy said that I would be. I'm super happy with the 4-lane. It's a blast. I'm not in a big hurry to make any changes to this once I changed the S turns. Once I made that adjustment, it really changed this layout for me. I'm really happy. It's a lot of fun. Let's see. Yeah, Dave says it's a lot of fun. I'm sure those guys are. They're very, very funny. Seem very knowledgeable about the slot car hobby and have a lot of fun. So, and that's what it's all about, right? Yeah, great interview. I will go check it out. I don't know when it actually happened. Was that yesterday? So anyway, some of the things I want to talk about. Been working on a project car, and this is the Scalextric CUDA. And I've been working on this because I need a modified Trans Am for January. So I'm a little early, but I wanted to get a head start on things. And so I've kind of got this in pieces. It's not complete because I've been having some problems with the car. I'm trying to get it tuned up, and for some reason, it won't hang in the slot very well. It's quick enough, but it does like to deslot, and I'm trying to decide if I've got a body float issue, if I've got something rubbing, whether it was a problem with the some of the things I had to do with the interior. I had to cut the interior down, so I basically used some cardstock from a slotted sleeve, and I cut the bottom out of the interior and glued it so that I could raise that up and have enough room for the rear tires and the motor. So, but I started with the CG Slot Cars 3D printed chassis kit, the CG 3D C001. And this comes with everything you need, well, most everything that you need to convert a standard Scalextric car. This was a Barracuda kit, and it really changes the stance of the car. It really makes it pretty competitive, to be honest with you. I was really impressed. It was a fun build. So a couple things, though. The glue that I used to glue the interior back together overnight gassed out a little bit and caused my windshields to fog up. Most of the glass is ruined in this car. It looks awful. I'm very disappointed I did that. I wasn't even thinking. I just stuck the interior in there and then let it sit overnight. And when I looked at it the next day, it was a mess. You can kind of see it. But has anybody else put any of these cars together? I know Daryl has. I know John has. I'm sure there's lots of guys that are the Trans Am guys that have upgraded the Scalextric car. Now, I did some laps stock. Could not get under 6.2, 6.25. Was as fast as I could get the stock car, and it did not want to stick to the track. It deslotted really easy. Again, no tuning. Just ran some laps as a stock so I could see what the difference would be. Upgrading to the 3D chassis, I put a Thunderslot stock motor in it and got the stance down, got the front end set up. It now runs 5.3s on this layout, which is really quick for a Trans Am car, a modified Trans Am. That Thunderslot stock motor, that 21.5 motor, is a great motor for this because it doesn't overpower it, but it's snappy, it's twitchy. It's got enough torque to move this heavier car. I'm weighing in at about 88 grams on this car with the interior in it. Right now, I don't have the interior in it because I think that the interior was causing some body float issues, and so I wanted to inspect it without so I could see if I've got any other areas I need to deal with. I think the body might be resting on the chassis on the front and causing the nose to dive in a little bit and pop the car out. The other problem I have is this thing sits so low now because of the tires that I used. I really was trying to get this car on the ground that it's hard to use this on the front because it scrapes, and I have taken a lot off the bottom to the point where it's now damaged the lettering, and I'm still not sure. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to run it with the big nose air dam. So we'll see. Oh gosh, I'm not paying attention to the chat. Sorry, guys. But this was a fun project. So if you've ever built one, you know that like it takes a little bit of work. I've got some time invested in this thing. I really want it to be quick and fast. The biggest thing is I want it to be smooth, and this car is not bad. It really is pretty good. I can attest to that, DeFingers. Dusty's Shadow is really, really fast. It's much faster than mine, and he really didn't do anything to it. My name is Daryl, and I'm a slotaholic. A fine complaint to have. Yeah, I agree. I don't even try to keep up with all the content. Yeah, it's getting difficult, Billy. You're right. There is so much being produced right now by lots of people. Our call to action about creating content has worked because there's a ton of people. Hey, DK Moon, at least with this addiction, you shouldn't wake up in the ditch in your own vomit. I agree. There are a lot worse things that I could be doing. My wife knows where I'm at. I'm in the basement, or I'm at Cincy Slots, or I'm at somebody else's track running slot cars. And, yeah, she doesn't have to worry about me not being able to get home and things like that. Let's see, what else? Paul, thanks. After 40 years, well, welcome back, man. There's a lot to learn, and the hobby has definitely changed over the last 40 years. I think about 40 years ago, I was running a TCR track and wearing out the cars with my brother. Yeah, it depends on how many cars you come back home with. You do wake up with an empty wallet. Let's see. What else do we have? Hey, Richie, welcome. Marty, is the car analog or does it have a chip in it? Anthony, this car is analog. It's really a club car. It's built to be raced at Cincy Slots. In January, I think, is when we run one class of analog modified Trans Am, and then the digital class is maybe Group 5, 124 scale. I'd have to look. But yes, this is an analog car. Analog car. It is a very cool car, even if I don't figure out how to make room for that air dam on the front. Josh Reed, Daryl put mine together for me. It's a muscle car for sure. Josh, are you running a CUDA? I can't remember what your Trans Am car is. Yeah, Daryl can build them. He's really good at them, and that's kind of what I'm comparing my car to. Is can it keep up with any of Daryl's cars? And of course, I'm trying to make it go faster, and that's the problem. Who got Hemi CUDA? This guy. Nice. All right. Did you order the Scaly or the SCX? Red Rouge on a Dremel with a cloth buffing wheel, and you might be able to bring the windows back. All right. I might try that. Thanks, John. I actually just got, it's not a Dremel brand, but I just got one of these. How have I lived without one of these? I do not know how I've been in the slot car world for the last 18 months. 19 months. I forget how many months it's been. Yeah, 19 or 20 months maybe. And not had one of these. Crazy. Worth the $39 at Menards for the Proform version, and it works great. Is the glass glued in? Glass should be taped placed inside. The body will flex better. Nice idea. It's not the glass isn't glued. It's snaps in and held in by the interior. The interior has a place for these clips. So, and that's built into the top of the body. So, which is why it probably rattles a little bit. So tape, that's a great idea. I didn't glue the glass in. The glue was just the fumes from the glue. I used a Gorilla Super Glue because it sets fast, and the gel, and it's a little easier to work with some of these things, but it does cause a problem. The fumes cause a problem with that glass. So, Gary, did I run? Oh, George, the snowplow. Yes, I might not be able to put the snowplow back on. Gary asks, did you run the car on your track? Yes, I've actually put a lot of laps in it. I'm in the tuning phase right now, Gary. So I'm just trying to make sure that the car is easy to drive, stays in the slot really well, and is quick all at the same time. And so I'm running 5.4s pretty easy. When I get into the 5.3s, the car feels very on the edge. And I've driven a few of these cars now that will do 5.3s very comfortably. 5.2s are like where you find the edge. And so I'm really looking for about 1/10 of a second. So I'm comfortable driving the car at those times on this track. Now, it will be different when I get to Bruce's with it, so that'll change. 124, 132, Paul, that's what you're jumping into. That's what we run, mostly 132. We dabble in 124 digital every once in a while, but I'm jumping in the rabbit hole, guys, with scratch building. This project, I loved building this car, and I know that it was a 3D chassis, and I know that that everything was made for you, but I've got my stuff to build my first chassis, and so my first scratch build car, and so that's coming. I've got a couple of bodies on the way. I ordered. We can talk about that. So growing up when I was a kid, my grandparents lived on this long lane, and it was just a great place to play and grow up when I was a kid. But at the end of the lane, there was a little used car lot called Dyke's Auto Sales, and they had a garage where they would work on these cars that they would sell. But also in the other bay of the garage was a race car, and a guy named Jake Dyke, who it's kind of a local legend in dirt track racing, just because he was a local guy. Lindsay, what 3D chassis is? It is the CG Slot Cars 3D chassis. It's actually a great kit. Comes with most everything that you need to convert that scaly CUDA. Yeah. Sean, you want to see the underbody of the Camaro. So I will show you the underbody of the Camaro. But Jake was kind of a mentor to me and my cousins and my brother Dusty. We would go and hang out, and he would put us to work sweeping the floor and rolling tires around as they worked on and repaired that race car. And he raced quite a few different cars, and I've been looking for pictures because with this kit, the Showdown chassis, this is a 1/32 scale, and the proxy that Harry in the home racing world is sponsoring is based on this kit, and it's like old dirt track cars. And so I was looking for a great body for it, and Shotgun Dave sent me a couple links to some Camaros because that's what Jake's car was. The last two cars he built were like based on a really sheet metal, but it was loosely based on a 68 Camaro body that had a racing chassis underneath of it. But like a late 70s. The car was in the late 70s, early 80s that he raced it, but it was based on like a 68 Camaro. And so my Aunt Jenny found some pictures of this car, and so I wanted that to be the first car that I build. No, Dave, you're not addicted. It's all right. What's the part number on the CUDA chassis, Patrick? It is CG3DC001, Scalextrics Barracuda 3D SLS chassis with accessories. Get it at Slot Car Corner. The guys at Slot Car Corner were great. Bob sent stuff out. And he also sent me my ceramic soldering jig. He sent me, I had a pretty big order. Sent me flux. I've got solder. I bought a new soldering iron. Guys, if you're looking for a soldering iron, if you live near Menards, the heavy-duty 80-watt basic soldering iron is $4.99. I bought one. I sent the link to my brother, and he went to the Menards and bought the rest of them that they had locally. So there you go, Pat. There's the chassis number. Yeah, Lindsay, that was for the Scalextrics. That's for the CUDA. Any of the other 3D chassis, you have to go to Shapeways for like the SCX CUDA and the Scalextrics Camaro and the Mustangs. The only 3D chassis kit that they sell at Slot Car Corner is for that Barracuda, I believe. That's multitasking. Hey, Mark, welcome. Yeah, Dave likes to multitask. I need a few videos stacked up in the pipe before my son appears to the world. That's exciting times, bro. I'm excited for you. It's going to be awesome. I have a CUDA and a Thunderslot Mustang. I attempt to use the CUDA, but if you guys are too fast, I'll have to use the Mustang to keep up. I don't think you have to worry about that, but I think the Mustang is going to be outlawed, Josh, at Bruce's. He doesn't seem to want to allow them. Mainly because, and Dave Kennedy talked about this, mainly because that fastback supposedly wasn't run in the Trans Am. The GT350 wasn't. It was all notchback Mustangs, except for like the 70 Boss. So that was. Chris, the Dremel makes life better. Yes, I agree. Hey, Greg, Clearwater, welcome. Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks to Fingers. Hit the like button if you have a chance. That'd be great. What were we talking about? We were talking about the CUDA. We were talking about. I got sidetracked with answering that. Oh, so for my first scratch build with this chassis kit, I ordered a '68 Mustang 1/32 scale model kit off of eBay, and it's going to be close. It's not exactly the same body, but I will make do. But my plan is to paint it like Jake's car. He ran number 92, and I'm excited about building that, mostly so I can kind of share that with my brother. Since we grew up, Jake was an amazing person and kind of mentored us as kids, and it's just great memories, you know. And so I'm excited about that being the first build. And then Shotgun Dave sent me a message yesterday and shipped me a couple of bodies so that I can work on. And I have a feeling one of them is one of the VW Bugs. So I'm excited about that. So that will definitely be a build from the scratch build. So yeah, I'm definitely going to jump in to scratch building with both feet. So George, Shotgun Dave, Harry, watch out, guys. There'll be lots of questions coming your way. So I hope you are all prepared. Steve Sweeney's got a question. Could you show a close-up of how you run your braids on Carrera track? Thanks. Yeah. So here's how I have the braids set up on this car. Steve, hopefully that kind of helps you. If you run them completely flat, if my track was completely flat, you wouldn't probably have too many problems. But I have got the hill you've got to climb up through the S's and then down through this corkscrew. And that you will lose contact if you don't kind of do that with your braids if they're too flat. So hopefully you can get a good shot of that. Those need cleaned already. Actually getting quite a few laps on that car. So hopefully that helps. Blue tack, everything. Yeah, I need to pick up some blue tack. I probably can get that at Hobby Lobby. Mainly just for arranging the wires. That's pretty handy. Richie, I love Trans Am cars. Spent many weekends watching them at Laguna Seca. Richie, that's awesome. I will tell you, I didn't really like them as slot cars because they tend to be a little noisier. They're a little top heavy. They're not quite as fast as the Can-Am cars. That's why I love the Can-Am cars. They're just the Thunder Slots and the NSRs. They're just so quick and a lot of fun to drive. And then I went to Bruce from Cincy Slots. He hosted a house race, and so I ran one of Daryl's. It was a 70 Camaro, I think, and I raced it. And because they were so competitive with each other, most of the cars run relatively close. It really inspired me a little bit. And then running them, I do have some footage of that too. I'll have to put together a video to post later this week. We did run quite a few laps with the Trans Am cars, and that was really, really competitive racing. It was a lot of fun, but it wasn't quite as tight as the Group 2 cars. Mainly, you just didn't have enough power to pull away from anybody in Group 2. So it really came down to driving. With the Trans Am cars, there were a couple cars that were just a little better than the others, and you could always tell. And then if you were good at driving it, on top of that, you could separate yourself a little bit. So, but yeah, the Trans Am cars are really cool. Testers make some glue for windows called Clear Parts Adhesive that does not fog plastic windows. So I have this canopy glue, and that does not fog windows. It takes forever for it to set up. So I usually just have to put something on and try to clamp it and wait overnight. And I really would like to find some faster setting up glue that actually would not cause that issue. And if I would have just let it air out, I think I would have been fine, Rob, if I'd have just left the interior out of the car and not let it sit in there overnight while the glue was fairly fresh. If I'd have let that sit for 24 hours and then throw it in the car, I probably would have been fine. It was just the canopy glue just takes forever to set up. I don't know. I was looking for something that set up in 30 to 60 seconds so that I could continue to work. So it kept my workflow. So if anybody has any suggestions on glue, that's good to work with for things like that. As much as I like working with this Gorilla Super Glue, it does not, it kind of leaves a residue on plastic. It's not as plastic safe as I probably should be using. I just like the way I can work with it. So anyway, would not overlook the 22.5K ball bearing for that car. So John, it's funny that you mentioned that. Because I have a 22.5 ball bearing motor right there to go in it. Actually has the pinion on it and everything ready to go. The problem is I feel like I need to solve the deslotting issue first before I just throw maybe a motor that has a little more top end and maybe it's a little smoother power band, but I don't know. I think I need to figure out why it's deslotting, why it's kind of living on the edge. Like I can go around the track at like half throttle and just see where it has problems, and it tends to have problems. It slides out on left-hand turns. So any left-hand turn, the rear end slides out pretty easy. Right-hand turns, the rear end is a little planted. So that's me troubleshooting, trying to figure out what's causing that. I pulled the interior out, and the car did a little better. So I'm afraid that maybe the interior is binding in the body and not allowing the body to float. So I've got to look at that, and maybe I need to shave a little more off. So those are the things I'm looking at from a troubleshooting standpoint. Paul, thanks. Thanks for joining. Yes, not the best in the corners, but that top end, wow, Dodge Hemi is making the ground shake. There you go. Yeah, Dusty ordered the Shapeways for his Challenger. Camaro. Oh, did you get the Camaro too? That's right. My backup is probably going to be this, and so I probably need to order the stuff that I need. The only thing is we'll talk about it. That's one of the things I forgot that I wanted to talk about tonight. I had a call on Friday night and walked through Fast Laps, the software, with Patrick. And he kind of walked me through all the details of development and how he got into this, and then showed me kind of all the details and a deep dive into the software. And I really want to be able to test this software. To be able to test it, I have to get TrackMate, the hardware, so the USB device and things like that, because he's, I think he's considering adding webcam support. We talked a little bit about that. I think that would open up his market for that software, potentially, but I don't know how long that would take, and I really would like to do some more testing of the software. So we walked through that. It was awesome. I'm really impressed with it. Patrick, way to go. I don't know if you're in the chat or not, if you're watching tonight, but thank you for your time on Friday night. It was fantastic. We were on a call for about, hour and 15 minutes, and we walked through everything. It's an exciting piece of software, guys. Something else new and fresh in the hobby. I think it's coming at a perfect time. I don't know what his release date is. I think he still has some programming he wants to wrap up before he releases it. But I know it was kind of cool last week that he said maybe 5 or 6 of you guys sent a message through the website requesting access to the beta. So that was awesome. Thanks for doing that, guys. Hey, Jamie, welcome. I'm a little behind on the chat. I apologize. George, the Snap Tight one, yes. I ordered I think it's molded in yellow. I found a blue one that was a Revell that was actually more like it, except for the fact that it looked like somebody had already painted the model, and it was definitely a used model, and it was more expensive. So I went with the Snap Tight. And George, you had actually sent me the link to that same one as well. Shotgun Dave sent it to me. So I'm excited about that. I think that it will be here on Thursday. And Shotgun Dave's package that he sent with some bodies in it, it gets here on Thursday. So, man, this weekend might be building a car or two. I probably need to go to the local hardware and get some more brass, but we'll see. The one thing, guys, I did to talk about back to the CUDA is I ordered the 5-spoke wheels from, let's see if you guys can see that, from Staffs. Oh my gosh, they look awesome, but they have an offset. And with that CG, you can see the offset there. With that CG kit, there is not much room for rear tires between the body. And so I'm making a video kind of showing the details of building this thing, kind of a time lapse as I talk over it, which would be me. This is more like a Slot R video and less like a Marty video, but I just thought it would make sense. And I detail kind of what I used. So I got those staff wheels because I thought I could use them, but they just wouldn't fit. It was too tight. I just couldn't fit the body on them. And so I had to go with the So I went with the CB Design wheels, the 1050s, the CBD 1050s. It's the 15 by 8 millimeter wheels because they do not have an offset. And then I went with, I got the ride height down because I went with 1402 super tires and the 1402Zs up front. And man, it really put this car on the ground. Yeah. So model bodies coming for scratch building. Looking at what I'm going to need to build the Mustang to get it running. The Mustang is a little narrower than the CUDA, and so I think that could be a little bit of an issue. But Daryl and John tell me that we should be able to get it running pretty decent. Let's see. A bit more dollars than most. A 68 snap tight Mustang. Tad, gotcha. John, they do 3D chassis. The NR 3Ds are another great chassis as well. Bruce is going to hate it when I show up to D132 DTM with the 488 GT3 that says DTM on the side. Let's see. That's funny. Let's see. Yeah, I forget what the name of the company is that's actually the maker. Shapeways just prints it for them. It starts with an O. Scratch building is fun. Marty, this is my first build, and I like it. I made a mistake, and George said it's an easy fix. Nice. Gary, I saw your picture. I'm glad you were able to find George. He is a great Oscar. I do have a guide. That is my next thing, is to put my last slot invasion guide. Actually, it's not my last, but it's the Scalextrics one I have, and yeah, so it's getting a slot invasion guide, Oscar. Don't you worry. And that might be part of my deslotting problem, I guess. Maybe it'll force me to set up the front end again and make sure that the ride height is correct. That could be my issue. I feel like I've got it set up right, but for some reason, if you really drive it down into a turn, it pops out of the slot just about every time. I really got to ride on the brakes. UV glue is a good one as well. UV glue. So Dusty picked up some UV glue, and I pretty much stole it from him. And this stuff does not work very well. It never really sets up. And maybe it's the infrared. I never thought about it. Maybe it's just the infrared flashlight that I have. It's not very good. That's a possibility. So I'll try that. Yep, Oliver. That's it. Good job. Tad just tint the windows. Nice. Scott, I've kind of been watching some model building channels, and almost all of them install windows with tape. The stuff they use on ductwork. Nice. That's a great. Yep, no problem, Steve. Happy to help. That's what I would do, is tint the windows. Thanks, Wild Man. George, can you modify the brass chassis kit to fit 1/25th scale? Let's see. You could probably use most of the parts. George would know better, and if he's already answered it, I should probably scroll down. It's going to come down to your wheels. If you have 1/24 scale wheels and tires, then you could use that kit to build a 1/24 scale. There's enough brass there, I think, that you would be able to build a 1/24 or 1/25th scale. It would just be the wheels and tires, which is what I'm going to run into with the Lotus body. I don't think the Lotus body, the wheels and tires will look right. Even though I could build that kit, that's kind of why I moved on. I'll design something else for the Lotus. I'll order the 1/24 scale wheels and tires that I need. I just got to figure out what that is. Gary, I use tester's glue and use a toothpick to glue parts together. Nice. I have some glue that's like tester's, this E6000, and that's what I do with it. It works pretty well. I would install the motor first. Different torque curves sound like a balance issue. Okay, so if we're back to the CUDA, what kind of gear ratio do you think I should start with? Just the standard 3211? because that's where I'm at. Actually, I'm at 3212 right now. I was trying a 12 tooth pinion. I really didn't see much difference between the 11 and the 12. Maybe it's just the one tooth isn't enough to really notice on this track. I thought maybe I would see more top end, and maybe I do a little bit. And I thought maybe it would calm it down coming out of the turn, but it doesn't really change the deslotting. But thanks, John. I will try that. Yeah, E6000. Yes, hot glue gun. I've used the hot glue gun a lot. That's great for installing like light kits and stuff that you potentially need to remove down the road. Richie has, I have 4 Trans Am slot cars. If modified correctly, they do fly around the track. Yeah, Richie, we're getting these to move around the track pretty good. Just to kind of tell you, the Can-Am cars were running probably 5-second laps, and these cars, the Trans Am cars, were running 5.4s. So they're about 3 to 4 tenths off of the Can-Am, like the Thunder slots, the M6A. But that's to be expected. They're a bigger car, a heavier car, and way more top heavy. So that's what I would expect. Wild Man. I would say George. Well, I must be really behind on the chat. No, not too bad. I would say, Wild Man, that if the 1/32 scale kit sells really well, then they probably would look at doing a 124, 125 kit. Again, mostly it's just the wheels. So you could buy that kit and buy 124 scale wheels and probably still be in pretty good shape. But I think it's just kind of one of those, it's like a beginner kit, right? It's to kind of test the waters so that you don't have to buy all this inventory of brass and stock. You kind of get everything in the kit. The only problem you run into is there are not a lot of choices when it comes to 1/32 bodies. So from 1/32 scale bodies, if you don't go out and buy an old model kit, most of the snap tight kits are 1/32 scale, but you're not going to go to Hobby Lobby and find those. I think that's the big challenge. I like the 1/32 scale. I think that the kit really makes it easy. So I would say it's probably going to depend on how well those kits sell. And maybe if Home Racing Worlds, if they tie them to those proxies, I guess we'll see how many Showdown chassis cars get sent in for this proxy. And I think it's in January that those cars are due. So, yeah, I think it's going to have. If Fast Laps takes off, which I'm sure it will, yeah, it is. It looks great. Really, I had a great conversation with Patrick. Dana, the S's look like a nice upgrade to the original version of the first 4-lane layout. Dana, yes. It was a big change. It was a small change that paid big dividends. That was what I was after. So, small change, big dividends, really changed the whole flow. And I went from, okay, 4 lanes, it's okay, to I love this layout. This layout is fun. It's very fast. Like, I think we put in 1,500 laps or more on Saturday. It was probably closer to 2,000 laps, but at 5.5, 6 second laps, and 57-foot lane length, you can. Hey, Patrick, glad you're here, man. Thanks for joining again. I really enjoyed our conversation on Friday. It was fantastic. You're a good dude, and I'm rooting for you in the software. I just need to figure out how I can really test it. It would have been fantastic test grounds on Saturday. If I'd have known that I was going to be doing that and I was going to have an opportunity to get that software installed, if I'd had the ability to do some timing, we could have really ran it through the ringer. So we'll get there, though. I'm working on that. Got to raise some money. Got to raise some money. Specific for slot car, the hobby use and the channel. I try to insulate my wife from the hobby and the YouTube space. So I sell things and do little odd things to raise money to buy my slot cars and build track and buy parts and invest in lighting and cameras and things like that. So I don't want her to feel the pain of my hobby. But the TrackMate is going to be about $260 to get the hardware, and so I'm working on that. Let's see. Very nice wheels from Staffs. Yeah, man, those are really, really cool. I guess I am way behind. Question: how much weight have you added? Okay, I've added about 6 grams of weight to this car, Sean. I'm at 87 or 88 grams total for the car, and I think before weight I was at about 83, maybe somewhere in there. So maybe not quite 6, 5.5 ounces. I think if I add too much more weight, it's going to get super heavy and be slow. And so I'm trying to find the happy medium. Slot car corner or a clover leaf, Scott. Okay. I thought Shapeways made spandex. Hey, Monty. Welcome. Bondic UV glue, the best I've found. Okay, cool. I will check that out. You probably buy that off of Amazon. It's been a while since I brought Slot Car Girls up. That's funny. Jeff G, 124, 25 scale, 1/8 axle, and bushings to get wheel size correct. Now, what is the brand? CB Design makes 124 scale wheels, the Steelies, that work with 3/32 axles. And the reason why they do that is for guys who have invested a lot in 1/32 parts over the years and have lots of parts laying around so that they can actually use it, use that. So they do make wheels. You don't have to go to 1/8 inch axles if you don't want to, but you probably have a better selection of 124 scale wheels if you do. So, clean it with alcohol first. Very good. What's a good light kit for a Revo? So SRC just released a light kit. The Z Machine light kits I've used, those are super easy to install. They're a little tedious because they're tiny, but with some hot glue, pretty easy. And then Dusty, I don't remember what brand you get from Slot Car Corner. I think that is a different brand than Z Machine. And those look like they're pretty good. Sounds like the motor there doesn't have enough RPM or isn't hitting max RPM. Lux, you might be right. It's the Thunder Slot 21.5 or 25. What is that? 2105. And that's a pretty good motor. It's quick. The car's fast. I don't know. So we'll roll with that. We'll probably put the 22.5 motor in just to see how it performs. See if I get anything better. Start at 1134 and go from there. Okay. Not a lot of choices. 1/32 scale, correct. I just got a Japanese version of the Toyota 2000. Amazing quality. Doing an old Revell 56 Chrysler at the moment. That's cool, Caveman. I think I've seen that Toyota 2000. Did you get that at Hobby Link? I think I've seen that model kit. That looks pretty cool. You found an Oldsmobile 1/32 snap kit after you bought the 55 Chevy. Nice. Timothy Wood, what is your track, analog and digital? Thanks, buddy. We enjoy your show. Timothy, I am running digital and analog. I'm 2 lanes digital right now. Maybe this weekend, if I could find some time, I'll finish the wiring so that it's 4 lanes digital and 4 lanes analog. So I'm kind of excited to run it 4 lanes digital, try it out. What I would really like to do is chip some of the Revo slot Group 2 cars to run digital. I think those would be a blast, digital, and adding pit strategy and stuff. They're so close. Like, that's what would make them. The problem we have with Carrera cars and digital cars is there's such a difference between cars that sometimes it's hard, to race and it be competitive, because whoever has, really the fastest Carrera car wins every time. So if Dusty gets his pink pig out, he wins. If I race my Porsche 917, I'm probably winning. John Mark, I'm trying to remember what he runs. He's got it at his house. Whatever he runs, like everybody has a car. It's like their fastest car, and if we all run those cars, it just becomes chaos. But it's still like we can't keep up with Dusty's pink pig. It's the fastest Carrera car we have in our collections. The slot car hobby and the camaraderie is awesome, and yes, it's expensive, but for me, it's a real addiction. Anthony, here's the thing. I've been in a lot of different hobbies. I play guitar, and I'm in a band, and I lead a worship team at our church, and I'm always looking at gear. That's an expensive hobby. You buy a nice guitar, you're spending $1,500 or more. When I was in RC cars years ago, if you weren't dropping $1,000 a year or more in a new car and parts, then you weren't even close to being competitive. And I think that, so it's all relative, right? And so if we could live with just a couple of cars, the hobby is really pretty inexpensive and has a pretty low entry point. The problem is these little boogers are expensive, and you're always wanting to upgrade, and you're always wanting to make them go faster. And, anytime speed costs money. So that's funny. Let's see. What else do we have? I feel like I'm bouncing all over the place, guys, so I apologize. Johnny Pro, Z machines are probably the best kit for any car. Yeah, I'm really happy with the Z machines. Dusty, he picked up a couple that slot car corner carries now, and those kits look pretty much identical to the Z machine kits. They're all pretty small. Marty, yes, CB does make, but I feel 1/8 on 124 gets you a smoother running car. Jeff, that's great to know. That is, that helps us who have never built scratch built cars understand what our options are and the direction we should go. So thanks for putting that out there. I really appreciate it. At a hobby shop in Mobile, Alabama on my way home from New Mexico. Nice. I like those light kits as well. It sounds like a non-schematic schematic. For the 4-lane digital. It's not. It's the same premise. Instead of protecting the CU, you're protecting that additional 2 lanes that plug into the CU to make it 4-lane digital. So I actually think it's going to be really easy. I just need some more wire, and Dusty and I were going to do some testing of some diodes so that we could eliminate some switches, just because I'm using the switches to protect, to isolate and protect lanes and the CU. So if we can do that with a diode instead of a switch, then that makes life much easier. I have just tentatively tested a chassis. Looks like a Scalextric Boxer Porsche has the exact wheelbase needed for the 2000. Oh, that's actually a good idea. I was trying to figure out how I could take like an NSR chassis and put under one of these. But I'll play within the rules. But it's like NSR, Thunderslot, some really quick Can-Am chassis, and drop it under one of these. But as soon as you put this heavy body and top heavy body on, it's going to change any chassis, right? So let's see. Where are we at? This thing called Happens sets in. That's right. If we could live with just a couple of cars, funny. Yeah, I know, Greg. It's worth a shot, right? It's worth a shot. I started with a Parma 888 chassis. That was the shizzle in the day. CR2 fabrication. Well, I think that a lot of people, started with brass chassis and where you bought a model kit and you put, you scratch build. So I'm excited to jump in. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I still have my non-schematic if you need a refresher. Nice. I'm still waiting for the 4-lane digital, Marty. No worries, but I'll need it by the end of the year. Pat, I will map that out for you, man. Scott actually took my non-schematic schematic and did it in Visio. Actually, I have a copy of it right here that I was taking some notes on. And so he schematically made my non-schematic schematic a schematic. Did you get all that? But it looks great. And so what I should probably do is actually post a link to that out there, Scott, if you're okay with that, so that guys can actually get one that's not a hand drawing from me. Although I think that's the beauty of my non-schematic schematic is my drawing, but it's okay. Do not dismiss 3mm like BRM or Scale Auto running gear for 24 scale. A lot of options when you're going to build. Cool. I will check that out. Yeah, I definitely need to get some parts because once these model bodies get here, Shotgun Dave's sent me a few bodies. I'm going to be wanting to build 124, 125 scale stuff. So, yeah, Caveman, I think it's going to be fun. I'm super excited about it. So we talked about scratch building. We've talked about a lot about the CUDA, and I will. What I'll do is I'll do some video of the CUDA running, and I'll leave the D slots in there. So maybe and I'll post them on my Instagram account, and maybe you guys will see what's happening. Maybe before I figure it out, and we'll go from there. But it would be nice to get that car locked in the slot. But yeah, have more than a few years under my belt in 124 and have seen more than a few bent 332nd axles. Yeah, I mean, you're talking about heavier weight, right? That makes perfect sense to me to go to the heavier axle just from a physical standpoint for the scale. So, but just know that the 332nd axles can be used for 124, 125 scale cars if you get the right wheels. You just don't have a lot of options when it comes to wheels. You have the CB Steelies, which are cool looking wheels and work for a lot of the scratch build stuff that people do. So crayons are cool. Still have fun converting old scale electrics to hard to find plastic 132nd kits. Brass will always be there in the future. Many facets of this hobby. Yeah, Caveman, there's a lot of facets to the hobby. It's really pretty cool. Thanks, Scott. We'll post it out there so it's easy for guys to read. So I'll get it posted out there and put a link in that video, the non-schematic schematic video, and we'll go from there. Very cool. He did that with your schematic. Yeah, the fingers. Yeah, that's what I love about this community. Yeah, he came up to me at Cincy's and was like, "Hey, I took a minute and drew your schematic out in Visio, so it's easy for people to read." Like, that's awesome. In making the Carrera digital ready. Yeah, I don't know what cars I've got like 4 or 5 chips laying around that I've pulled out of my analog cars. I'll just be honest with you, I don't love driving my Carrera cars anymore. They're loud. They don't tune great. I've just gotten so spoiled. I want to love the Carrera cars. They make great looking bodies. Running digital, that's great. but I really need to throw a chip in a couple of analog cars and give myself some fun tunable cars that are digital. Wow, man, I want to thank you, Marty and friends, for fun evening at work tonight. Helps pass the time. Yeah, no worries, Wild Man. I'm glad you're here. This is fun. I look forward to it. We were out trick-or-treating out on the front porch, and I was chomping at the bit for the trick-or-treaters to give up on the cold weather and come in and talk to you guys. So what else did I need to talk about? We talked about the software, Fast Laps. Patrick walked through that. It was fantastic. Can't wait to get the hardware. I put a coat of paint on my Scale Auto. I don't know how that translates on video. It is day glow. It is bright. I love it. So what do you think? That paint job actually took really well. It looks really, really good. So now I just need decals. Now, one thing I thought about doing, it's not the right car, but I thought about taking some acrylic markers and making it look like Rexy. The green is a little different than the Rexy green, but coffee and candy, right? Wow, man. That's great. Justin, this is Rattle Can, but it's a different type of paint than I've ever used before. I usually use the 2X cover from Rust-Oleum, and I couldn't really find the color that I wanted. And so this is the new Krylon Fusion. This paint was fantastic to work with. It sprayed very smooth. The only mess up I have is right back here on this wing. It's hard to see. Right on the tip of the wing, because I dropped the body. I don't have a paint station, so I was holding it, and my fingers actually have been green for a week from that paint. That paint did not want to come off, but it laid really nice and smooth. It smoothed out very well. See if I can reach the can. So yes, this is the Fusion All-in-One Krylon. The color is Gloss Jungle Green. It's some of the best spray paint, rattle can spray paint I've worked with. But it says 5 times stronger adhesion, and there's a no peel guarantee. And honestly, it didn't. There's no orange peel in this. Like, it really did an awesome job. And so the paint that I got to paint I should grab that body. So this is the Lotus, and I don't know if I can get it to show, but the Lotus really, the white did not. I think I'm going to strip the paint off. It has a texture to it. It really did not. It did not go well, and it still feels almost tacky. And it's been a week since I painted it. But I don't know. It just really did not. It did not cover like the Krylon did. So my plan was to go back and get another can of white in the Krylon and try it on this body. And you just really can't there. Maybe you can see it there. And it's just really rough. I'm just real disappointed. And I want this car to look great. Lindsay, you might recognize this. So I don't know. I guess I could. It's definitely not a color that this car would have come in, but maybe it would look good in that green. So another project, we'll be building that car. That'll be one of the first 124 scale cars. I just need to order the wheels and tires for it. What time is it? 9:20. Wow. So DK Moon, that's exactly what happened. Is it really sprayed very heavy, really fast, and it was like I couldn't control how much paint was. I wanted to do like multiple really light coats, and there was no such thing as a light coat out of that can. John Mark clear coat it. I still think that, John Mark, I think that it will still, it's almost like wrinkles in the paint, where it didn't really adhere to the body. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in an alcohol bath and strip the paint off of it, and then prep the body again and reshoot it with different paint. So, because I want it to look right. So, but that could work, I guess. It could fill in the gaps and hide them, but I have a feeling that texture is just going to keep showing through. Let's see. Used on my 917 as well. Oh, you just picked up that color. Cool, Wild Man. It is a great color. And that paint was, honestly, it was fantastic to work with. So, okay, man. I had some latex gloves around here someplace, and I could not find them. And I'm not the most patient person when it comes to projects like this. When I'm ready to do something, I just jump in. And yeah, I had green fingernails for the last week. I mean, I still have green paint on a couple of fingers. Too funny. Painting your stinky pinky green. I finally got the podium for the first time. Was running my Carrera Porsche 911 Pink Pig against one. Awesome. Congrats, Pat. Way to jump on the podium. Smoke Eater 271. Marty, the track looks great. So does the Scale Auto. Thanks. Yeah, here's the thing. I'm still building this car, and I think that this car is beyond me. It's got all kinds of little adjustments. So I'm going to build it and see if I can get it tuned. And if I can't get it tuned, Greg, if you're out there, I may send it to you, buddy, since yours was so stinking fast. But I want to make it look good. So I feel like the green was the right color. Some of you might be ordering the green. Oh, man. The green Revo. That's a similar color. That lime green looks good. They all said the pig sounded like a vacuum cleaner. Yeah, the Carrera cars do. So I was stocking up from Slot Car Corner. Oh, wait, hang on. Don't forget our friends at Rost. Steve Halsman, I don't think I've seen you. You have coffee coming. So you were last week's winner. We'll give Roast coffee away this week as well. And where's my my Roast? There it is. Roastcoffee.com. Go to roastcoffee.com, use 2 lines, and you will get a discount, 25% off your first purchase, 20% off of coffee subscription. And I know that we've got a handful of guys that have coffee subscriptions. For those of you guys that support Trent, I really appreciate it. He's just a great partner in the channel, and it really it makes me happy when he tells me that he's gotten some sales. Because when we had the first discussion about this, I'm like, dude, it's a one-sided deal. You won't get anything from me, and all we'll do is I'll just give away your coffee. But he loves being a part of the channel, and I really appreciate him. So shout out to my friend Trent at Roast. Exciting stuff going on there. So what else do I have to talk about? The layout. We've already talked about the changes to the layout. So Scott, Daryl, Dusty, came over on Saturday, so it was 4 of us, and for probably from noon until 6:30, I think for 6.5 hours, we tested and tuned a lot of different cars. I think, Scott, you got your vintage car ready for next month. We got it tuned up. Scott, you were running some fast laps. We had a great time. I took a lot of footage so that I could share in little shorts for the channel. I think that the short videos have really been paying off here as of late. That's something that really didn't work early for me, and I don't know why, but I think guys like me love seeing slot car videos. They like looking at layouts. They like to see what other people are racing. They like to see how cars perform. So I think that those videos are doing better. The one I released yesterday has over 1,000 views, which blows me away. But I think it's because it's a fun video, like just watching some guys all race on this 4-lane layout. It translates well to video. So I'll post some more video out there if you guys enjoy that. Hopefully you do. Again, it would be great to have some type of gathering, because not only did I have fun racing with Scott and Daryl, it'd be so much fun to race with John Albright. It'd be fun to race with Billy and Amanda. It would be fun to race with Raul and George and, Shotgun Dave. And like, that's the beauty of what Raul's doing with the Global Racing League. You're sort of racing with people, but it would be great to have a gathering where we could just get together, just kind of shoot the bull and share tips and tricks and help each other tune cars, and then have some racing that is not like a national race where the intensity level is pretty high. Now, what I heard about the Eastern NSR Nationals over this past weekend is Cloverleaf did an awesome job of managing a terrific race, and that the atmosphere was fantastic. Both Josh and Steve both had conversations with both of those guys and said people were super helpful, that it was about trying to help people go faster and have fun. And that's exciting, because I think that would be, when you label something a national event, then it brings in lots of maybe anxiety for people, or I didn't go because I didn't feel like I belonged there. And then after I watched the race, and I've raced with Steve, and I've raced with Josh, and I've raced with Butch and Greg and Bill, I think it was Bob. I apologize. Can't remember his name off the top of my head. I've raced with those guys at Butch's track. All of those guys have been pretty cordial and very helpful, and I saw that they did well. 41 people in that race. They all finished, different places, but they were all in the middle of the pack or higher, and they held their own, and that tells me that I could probably go and finish. If it's 40, if there's 50 people, that I could finish maybe in that that 30 to 40 range, because I can tune a car halfway decent. Not perfect, but I can tune a car, and I'm learning to drive a car. I'm confident enough in that. We keep inching up at Cincy slots each week, and then we have setbacks where just your head's not in it, or you try too hard, but I've never stopped having fun. And so the fact that they were able to put on a national event sponsored by NSR, and it feel that way is pretty exciting, because I'm not sure that that's how it felt at Electric Dreams. And maybe it does. It didn't come across that way in the videos, in the streams. It seemed like it was a pretty competitive environment, which is fine. It's what it is. It's the USA Nationals, but I think that that's what you're dealing with, and I think it's exciting to hear the feedback from this past weekend. Maybe the coverage wasn't perfect. but they did have coverage, and that was exciting to see. So you could watch some of my friends race. So who knows? Maybe next year, I'll be there as a racer, not just as somebody covering for YouTube. Josh, thanks. And your feedback from the event was great. It was really great to hear, and I appreciate you guys. Yeah, Andy and Jeff. Thank you, Andy and Jeff. So, yeah, it was great to see those guys race. That's awesome. The best thing with this hobby is everyone's having fun, and that's what people need to do is have fun. Anthony, you hit the nail on the head, brother. Yeah, that's why I'm in this. Like, on Saturday, we didn't run a race. We were competing. Don't get me wrong, but we didn't run one race, even though I wish I would have, so everybody would rotate the lanes. What happened was everybody locked in on a lane, and no one wanted to move. Dusty ran all day in blue lane. I ran all day in the yellow lane. And that's all right, because getting those laps in really helped me be quick in the yellow lane. And any other time, I may not have spent time in there, because when I'm by myself, I'm usually in the white lane, because that's the fast lane, right? So, whoa, didn't mean to do that. So anyway, yeah, I don't, and Patrick, we have been on the bottom, and still, some days we are, and that's okay. It's being able to walk away from that and still know that you had fun and you got to spend time with great people, and that's what really makes the hobby fun. When racing, sometimes you're the dog, the other times you're the hydrant. That's right, John. See, John's plan is to be at the USA Nationals next year. And so that means I have to figure out how to get out there, because you need a guy to help him pit. Somebody's got to clean your tires, right, in between races. So I can do that. Let's see. Patriot. Oh, Patriot. What did Patriot say? Did I miss something? A good. I'd be more interested in seeing everyone's most popular video analytics. Bring your laptop. I can't touch your videos, Billy. I do not get views like you get views. Your shorts get big numbers. My shorts do awful. Like, the fact that this short has done 1,000 views, that's way more than all my other shorts combined, I think. So, yeah. I've been at my local track 3 times and never get the warm and fuzzies. Greg, so you're going to a track, I believe, that's been established for a while. And sometimes it just takes people who are willing to help change the culture there. Or that will just overwhelm the culture if there's a toxic culture. Sometimes you have to kind of kill it with kindness. And that was the beauty. We didn't have to do that at Cincy Slots. It was a great environment. We walked in. I feel like we helped and enhanced. We didn't come in and hurt the culture. And that's anywhere I go. That's what my goal and our goal is. If the Ford brothers show up, there's going to be laughing and poking fun, and it should be a good time, because Dusty and I, we harass each other constantly. It's a good time. Curvy question. So everyone talks about meeting up. What would be the recommendation for a track size, digital or analog? Oh, wow, Curvy. You may have opened up a can of worms. Sean Casey and I, we never even got to track. We just talked extensively about finding a place that made sense, that was easy to travel to, that people could drive to or fly to relatively cheap, and get away for a weekend, food, hotel, airfare, driving, easily under $1,000. maybe closer to $500 to $600, and just meet up someplace, set up a track, and let people have fun. Not even really get serious about racing and having organized races, just having track time where people can help each other and grow and have fun and just meet up and meet people that we've never met before. I mean, I have, I don't know, there's 61 likes. I don't know how many people are watching right now. We have 66 people. So 66 people in this conversation. I don't know what the where it topped out at tonight, but how cool would it be, instead of talking in a live chat, that all of us or most of us are in like a hotel convention area together, tuning cars, working on cars. Maybe if we could get lucky and have a vendor or two that would give us the option to spend some of our money on slot car stuff. It doesn't even have to be like a trade show, just a gathering. That would be fantastic. But if you're asking about like what a track would look like, I think it would be fun to have a 4 or 6 lane track that maybe 80 feet lane lengths. Something would be fun. Like that would be great if you could get like Policar or Scalato or even Carrera to say, hey, we have this track. You can set it up. We'll box it up and ship it to you. And we just box it up and ship it back when we're done. And I don't think that would happen, but that would be awesome to find a track that size. But if not, I just load this thing up and pack it up and set it up, and we'll just have at it, right? I would probably consider adding to this and maybe building a different layout, but I don't know. There's a lot of guys that want to race my layout, so maybe that's what we do. I don't know. But this layout can do digital and analog, so we could have both. Let's see. When you put it that way. I have my slot car carry-on. I'm good to travel. Eric, that sounds great. So maybe next year we can start planning something that would be awesome. So we'll start looking at options, possibilities of places to do it, and we'll go from there. All right, it's 9:37, guys. I don't know what else there was to talk about tonight. I feel like I've hit on everything, bounced all over the place. But I hope you've enjoyed the chat, the conversation. And, I don't do the news, but there were some things newsworthy, I guess. The Fast Laps, Patrick and his project. Super excited to dig deeper into that. Watch out for the video on how to build or rebuild the Scalextric's CUDA into a modified Trans Am race machine using the CG Slots 3D printed chassis. I think that 3D printed chassis have an opportunity to really improve some beautiful cars that maybe don't run so well. I would like to maybe tackle a couple of my fly cars just to see what kind of potential, because they look great. Anything else? Any closing remarks? I'm hoping there is a dealership promo car out there somewhere, usually 1/32 scale. Gotcha. No Pinto. That's funny. Scott bounced to all the fun places. Yeah, just like Tigger. T-I-double-G-R. Anyway, I'm going to jump back into tuning this car. So, guys, thanks for joining tonight. Hope you have a great time. Don't forget to go have some fun racing. See you soon. Later.